Good evening, everyone. Whoa. I've been asked to ask everyone that's standing to please just move us to the sides because this is being recorded by HWCAM for your viewing pleasure and others in the future. So if everyone is ready, it looks like everyone is in their place. My name is Catherine Harrison. I'm the chair of the Wenham Select Board. And on behalf of the Select Board, I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight and thank you for joining us for our in-person Public Safety Recognition Night. Since March of 2020, we all know that date, and our entrance into COVID days, the world has moved on in Wenham as well. Many public safety officers, or a good number of them, have been appointed or promoted or pinned or sworn in, but all without the usual celebration. And as a town, we're sad about that. This evening, we are able to gather together, happy to be able to do that with colleagues, friends, family, to publicly recognize these professionals. So we're here tonight to hear from our chiefs and others and to publicly recognize all these fine people in uniform. And I will, at this point, pass the program to Dean Peterson, who is our police department chaplain, and he will offer a benediction and a few words. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Catherine. Would you please rise and look towards the flag and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. At this time, I'd like to invite you to a prayer as we begin. The words of prayer come from different religious traditions, and I do not make the boast that I can speak all the words of each religious tradition. But the prayer for today is one of gratitude. Gratitude for those that we acknowledge on this very special day. The first responders, the members of the police and the fire, and our public health EMTs. Let's pray. Ever-living and ever-loving God, we give you thanks for these men and women, for their willingness to act in the face of danger, for their courage to respond when options are few, for strength to engage when energy is waning, and for their resolve to serve others in a self-forgetful manner. Receive our thanks as a community of people for these special people. This I pray in your great name. Amen. The comments I'm going to make are very brief. How many of you have an aspiration to be first? I think all of us do. We want to be first here, there, and everywhere. The trajectory of our life is one that is constantly on the ascendancy. But how many of us want to be first responders? Oh, that's a different story. That's an entirely different story. Maybe I'll take a buy on that. Maybe I won't become a first responder. Call me a little later. The men and women that bear that title of first responders are those who live with death before them, and they choose to move toward someone who is in need, regardless of the need. They forsake their selfishness and they become self-forgetful. We acknowledge that self-forgetful trait that self-forgetful attribute, that self-forgetful gift to this, the community of Wenham. And now it's time for the pinning of the new officers.
I want to thank everybody very much for being here. I know it's a tough day to be here, but I can't thank you enough for being part of this celebration that's so important to so many people. I want to thank Dean, who's awesome as always. I don't know how he does it, but he's got the best delivery I've ever seen. So it's every time you talk, it makes a huge impact. So thank you for that as well. We're going to do one at a time. What I'd like to do is have each officer come up with whomever they selected to pin their badge on them. So the first one, it's going to be Officer John Phillips. And if you could bring your mom, Linda, up with you, John. So John was one of the 4 officers that we hired in this past year, obviously during a difficult time to get hired. And needless to say, I'm beyond proud of John and all the officers that we hired. John was raised in Burlington, Massachusetts, received his bachelor's degree from Salem State. He then worked as a police officer in security and police at Mass General Hospital prior to moving on as a police officer at Salem State University. He was hired by us just over a year ago. Great addition to the department. Couldn't be happier. And his mom, Linda, again, is here to pin the badge on John. So we could go ahead and do that. I want to congratulate him.
All right.
You're wearing a vest.
My blonde moment for the day. My blonde moment for the day.
All right. Okay. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to invite Officer Connors and his wife, Crystal. And the whole gang. It's all right. I like your sunglasses, very cool. Officer Connors, raised in Kingston, Massachusetts, but hard-working guy, received his bachelor's from Suffolk and then went on to get his master's degree from BU. But worked part-time for several different Massachusetts departments, Wareham, Tewksbury, and Kingston PDs. He then worked for BU Police Department and Security since 2013 and was hired by us in December. But brings with him an incredible amount of experience, awesome addition to the police department, and we're honored to have him on board and to have his wife, Crystal, pin the badge on him here today.
Anyone want
Hello. Good job. I'm going to invite Michelle Princey up, and she's going to come up here with her godson, Anthony Princey, who's going to be pinning the badge on today. Oh, this kid's dressed to the nines. I love it. Looking good, buddy. Looking good. Officer Princey is local. You might recognize her name or her face. She was raised in Hamilton, Massachusetts, so it was nice to come back home for Michelle. Michelle received her bachelor's from University of South Carolina and a master's from UMass Lowell. She's currently a staff sergeant with the United States Air National Guard. Michelle was hired by us in December, but was not able to formally start because of her commitment to the military, so we're all super appreciative and grateful for that. Prior to coming here, Michelle was in Mashpee for just about 7 years as a full-time police officer there. Did an incredible job down there, got very good recommendation to move on to our agency. So we're more than honored and beyond psyched to have Michelle on board. She's been a great addition. So her godson Anthony is going to hopefully pin the badge without any damage. Awesome. Good job, buddy. And Keegan O'Donnell. Keegan, if you could come up here with your dad, I believe Kevin. The only reason I hired Keegan is because he looks younger than me. I don't even know what his resume is. I have no idea. I just said you got the job. Sorry. Couldn't resist that one. My deputy said, "You gonna go with that joke?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He says, "All right, just go with it." Keegan's raised in Danvers, Mass. Another local kid. He received his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Fitchburg State. He was part of a program, a pretty neat program out there where you receive a bachelor's, eventually a master's, and your full-time police certification. He also went to the police academy while he was there. So it's a huge commitment. But it obviously showed his dedication to wanting to get into the field. So super impressed with that. He'll be receiving his master's degree within about a month or so. So it's putting him in a real solid foundation. Keegan comes with us with this solid base foundation of education, and as a newly full-time certified police officer, he's learning literally by the second. And we've had incredible support from the men and women of our police department that are currently there now that are working with Keegan every day, and he's soaking it all in. He's asking a lot of good questions, and I'm so incredibly proud and impressed to have him on board. So, Keegan, if your dad could pin your badge on you here today. Hey, my pleasure. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, sir.
Sorry for the joke. Okay, I believe Fire Chief Kavanaugh is going to be coming.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. It's a very special day honoring first responders. Approximately 6 years ago, the department started an intern program, which has turned out a large number of firefighters for our department. The intern program is taught by Deputy Chief Daniel Sullivan. At this time, I'd like to call forward 3 of our current interns: Matthew Hennessy, Chris Timpson, and Milton Gautreau. These 3 gentlemen took the first step and filled out an application to become a call firefighter in the town of Wenham. These 3 were interviewed by myself and my 2 deputy chiefs. After successful completion of the interview process, they became interns. The interns were fitted with gear and training commenced immediately. The intern program lasts 3 months, and the hours of training were every Tuesday night for 2 to 3 hours. The interns learned how to don and doff their fire gear, ropes, ladder work, and learned all components of their self-contained breathing apparatus, or SCBA. Towards the end of the program, these interns have learned to change out their air pack blindfolded. The interns must also complete a first responder class, which consists of first aid and CPR. All this training prepares the intern for the Massachusetts Call Volunteer Recruit Firefighter Academy, which is held in the fall. This intern program is very unique, as it allows the intern to see if firefighting is fit for them, and also gives the senior staff a chance to see if they are fit for the department. Each side has a chance to see if it is going to work out or not. The department keeps track of all calls that the interns respond to, therefore allowing us to see if they will respond regularly. I thank the interns for taking the first step in joining the Wenham Fire Department, and the department looks forward to working with you as you start working as a firefighter for the town of Wenham. Thank you.
Sue Hersey. Sue, can I have you step up here? Right in front of me. Okay. So, where do I begin about Sue? She's been with us for over 20 years. Needless to say, without a doubt, everybody at Wenham PD and past and present will agree she is the brains of the operation. You want to come up, kiddo? Come on up. Everyone will agree on a day-to-day basis, we go to Sue with everything. Anyone in my position knows that it's to have someone who's as trustworthy and hardworking as Sue, she makes everything run efficiently, and we would be lost without her. And to say that it's going to be difficult shoes to fill would certainly be an understatement. Since being in town for 4 years now, I really can't thank you enough for all that you've done for me and for retired Chief Perkins and the past and present men and women of the Wenham Police Department. And on behalf of everyone, I want to sincerely thank you for your professionalism, your hard work, and your patience for more than anything dealing with cops on a regular basis, because we're not easy. I know Fire Chief Kavanaugh wants to say a few words as well.
So, Sue, I, along with the entire department, would like to thank you and congratulate you on your retirement. You've done so much for our department. You are what Kevin said, a true professional. And our department wishes you a very long and healthy retirement.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I guess, Sue, before you sit down, we have a few things for you. We have a citation from the governor, and we have a citation from the State Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives, and I'd like to issue both those to you, and thank you again. And the deputy has a nice thing of flowers for you. Michael Perry, come on up. All right. So when I started typing up a few words about Mike, the biggest thing that I could think about was, if you're in a bad mood around this guy, you got some serious issues. Because hands down, he might be the nicest person I've met in my life. He makes the place better every day. He literally makes you want to be a better person and work harder when you're around him. Anything you ask him, how can I make this place better? How can I make the Wenham Police Department better? And what can I do to be part of the team? And you can't put a price tag on that. And anyone knows in the workplace that's all you really ask for, is to come to work and have positive people around you and people that want to work and be part of the team. And that epitomizes everything that Michael has brought to the table. We're hoping to keep him on board in one way, shape, or form because of everything that he does for our agency. But, you know, most importantly, he wore the badge for a really long time, and he wore it with pride. He wore the Wenham Police Department uniform with pride and brought a lot of honor to this town and to our agency. And, you know, I can't thank you enough for that. And keep coming back. We have a few citations from Michael, too, from the governor and from the state of representatives as well. Thank you, buddy.
I'd also like to recognize Reverend Michael Duda. He is not here with us today due to traveling. Once he left the church, he was gone. But those of you who do not know, Michael was our chaplain for over 10 years. He has guided us through the toughest of times. We always appreciated Michael saying the prayers at Memorial Day, 9/11 Remembrance, and basically whenever we needed him, he would be there. Michael is a class act, and it'll be tough to fill his shoes. The entire department wishes Michael a very long and healthy retirement. Thank you, Michael. So at this time, I'd like to call forward the 2020 and the 2021 graduates of the Massachusetts Call Volunteer Fire Academy. The 2020 graduates are firefighter EMT Nicholas Bean, firefighter Chris Swinich, provisional firefighter Cooper Genotti. We also had one firefighter, Ryan LaBouffe, but Ryan is no longer with us. He bought a house too far away from Wenham and he can no longer make the calls. 2021 graduates are firefighter Allison Boulouis, firefighter EMT Marissa Mead, firefighter Matthew Bean, and firefighter EMT John Ward. The 2020 graduates were fortunate to have a graduation just 1 month prior to having the state shut down, but were never really recognized in the open meeting. The 2021 graduates were unfortunate and never got a graduation or ever recognized in open meeting. All these recruits participated in the Massachusetts Call Volunteer Recruit Firefighter Academy, which was held at the Stowe Academy and at the Hamilton Firehouse. The academy course lasts 4 months, and classes were held on Monday and Wednesday nights, and also Saturdays and Sundays. Each of those weekday classes are 3.5 hours long, and the weekend classes are each 8 hours long. These recruits completed over 240 hours of training, not counting study time, drive time, and the many tests they took. This academy is very hard to do when you are juggling your family and your full-time job. In this Massachusetts Firefighting Academy program, the recruits learn all the skills and much more from certified fire instructors, who are also experienced firefighters. These instructors are the best of the best. Just some of the skills that these recruits learn and apply to real situations are donning and doffing their gear, everything involved with SCBA, including donning and doffing and inspecting all components of the SCBA, search and rescue, ropes, tying knots and hauling equipment, all aspects of ventilation, ground ladder carries and throws, aerial ladder climbs, vehicle extrication, hydrants, standpipe operations and drafting, hose handling in non-fire and also live fire. They also learn about hazardous materials. After the recruits get proficient with all their skills, on the final day of the academy, the recruits put it all together and respond to the burn building on the Stowe campus as if it was a structure fire. The recruits extinguish single room, multiple room, single floor, multiple floor, and basement fires on their last day at the academy. When the recruits successfully finish the academy, they will become Firefighter 1-2 certified and also hazardous materials, first responder, operational level certified. Both these certifications are Pro Board certified. I congratulate all of you on a job well done and look forward to having you on the department for many more years to come. Thank you. In closing, this past year and a half has been challenging with the pandemic. I know we're here today for the interns and the graduates of the Fire Academy, but you got to give thanks to every one of these firefighters. They continue to respond during these tough times. This is the team, not only fire, but police. This is what makes your public safety right here. Our department would also like to congratulate Chief DiNapoli, Deputy Chief Lucatoni, and all the newly appointed officers. We look forward to a great working relationship with your department.
I'd like to call Deputy Chief Lucatoni up and his dad Bernie, who's going to be pinning the badge on him. This is an emotional time for me. I've known Jay for a real long time, and you know, there's a trust network there that you could never be replaced. So I'm very lucky to have him not only as a friend, but as a co-worker and as a leader in our police department. Jay was raised in Drake, Massachusetts. He then went to Austin Prep High School prior to receiving a degree from Hesse College in Manchester, New Hampshire. Deputy Luke Antoni's was 27 years as a full-time police officer in New Hampshire prior to retiring and coming to Wenham Police Department. While still in New Hampshire, Jay was in the detective division for 17 years. 5 of those years, he was assigned to the New Hampshire Attorney General's Drug Task Force as undercover drug officer. 2 of those years, he was a team leader and supervisor on that unit. Deputy Luke Antoni retired as a captain from the Hudson Police Department in March of 2019, prior to being hired by Wenham PD. Like all our hires, I'm very proud that he was hired by our agency, and I'm very proud that his earned promotion was made. He's making Wenham PD a better place, as all our officers are, and I trust his experience, integrity, and leadership. And I want to thank his dad, Bernie, for stepping up here and pinning it on. You're up.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom Younger, your interim town administrator, probably for at least another week. But I'm pleased to be here. And I've got to say, looking at this crowd and everybody to my left, this has got to be the safest I've ever felt leaving my car windows open during 102 temperature. So thank you. First, I'd like to thank everybody here for turning out. And I'd like to also thank you for the way you've accepted me into your community. I'm probably here for another week or so, but it's been a wonderful 8 months. I was only expecting 3, but 8 months is fine too. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all the officials, particularly public safety. It's been a pleasure working with actually 3 chiefs since I've been here. The deputies, the volunteers, coming from a family who's had a state trooper and a firefighter in the family, it's very important that you support your team there as they continue along in their career. So first I want to present, I knew him as Deputy Chief DiNapoli, now he's Chief DiNapoli. When I was chosen here back in November, I wasn't expecting to be here when he rises to the rank of Chief of Police. But I'm thankful I'm here, as I'm honored to be here and proud to see him move forward in his new capacity. Kevin has served in uniform for a number of municipalities. Kevin began his law enforcement career as an auxiliary police officer for the town of Stoneham, Massachusetts. In June of 1996, Kevin was hired as a full-time police officer for Raymond, New Hampshire Police Department. In the fall of '98, Kevin went to work as a police officer for Hudson, New Hampshire Police Department, where he spent a majority of his law enforcement career. During his time with the Hudson Police Department, Kevin became one of the department's first polygraph examiners and was very well respected amongst his peers. He also became a hostage negotiator for the department's SWAT team, and he held the ranks of detective, sergeant, and lieutenant for the Hudson, New Hampshire Police Department, and again rose to administrative captain before retiring. After he retired, like me, he comes back to Wenham. So his time began here as captain in 2017, and he quickly built relationships with members of the department and the public, creating a reputation of honesty, diligence, friendliness, professionalism, and excellence, and honestly, a really nice guy besides that. With that, it's my honor to ask his wife to come forward and pin him as the next police chief for the town of Wenham, Massachusetts. Thank you.
I'd just like to say a few brief words. I promise, super quick. I know how hard it is. I can honestly say I'm very honored to be standing before you today as the next Wenham Chief of Police. The men and women working here before me have paved the way with integrity, hard work to create a solid footing for our department moving forward. So coming into that foundation made my job a heck of a lot easier. If I've learned anything during my career, it's that you're only as good as the people you're surrounded by, and I'm extremely appreciative of the past and present men and women that have worn the Wenham Police Department uniform. I'm thankful to the leaders I have worked with, for, and with in the past who've taught me so many things. Most importantly, that there's absolutely no substitute for hard work. And I learned that from my mom and dad and from the people in my life that I'm closest to, and I know that if you work hard, good things will happen. I'm thankful to my mom, dad, and brother who've taught me that without family, you have nothing. That's the most important thing in the world. And most importantly, I'm very thankful to my wife, Karen, and my children, Gabby, Kevin, Ben, and Luke. It's not easy to be the spouse or a child of a police officer. For 26 years, you've been there every day, putting up with the stress of the schedule, the job, and of course now more than ever, it's the toughest time to be doing this job. But the one consistent that they always knew, and I always knew I had their love and support every day. It's not easy, but I knew it was there. And in closing, I just want to thank everyone and to the men and women of the Wenham Police Department and the citizens of the town of Wenham. Just know without a doubt, you'll always get my very best. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Trudy Reed, Town Clerk. If I could have all of the police officers to come up, please, for the swearing of the oath. When I say "do you," please state your name. If you could please raise your right hand. Do you, having been duly appointed as police officer for the town of Wenham, solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially perform the duties as police officer as prescribed by law to the best of your ability, and that you will support and defend against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and you will maintain the laws of the Constitution of the United States, the state of Massachusetts, and the town of Wenham on your honor? I do. Great. Thank you all and congratulations. If I could please have the firefighters. When I say "do you," please state your name and please raise your right hand. Do you, having been duly appointed as firefighter for the town of Wenham, solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially perform the duties as firefighter as prescribed by law to the best of your ability, and that you will support and defend against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and you will maintain the laws of the Constitution of the United States, the state of Massachusetts, and the town of Wenham on your honor? I do. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you.
In my profession, words mean a lot. Small words, big words, doesn't make any difference. I leave you with this word, however, on this day: community. It's an old word. It comes out of the Latin language. and it has two parts to it. The last part, the munity part, carries the words strength, resilience, rigor, and defense. But those words do not mean anything without the first three letters, C-O-M. In the Latin language, those letters mean with. You can't have strength, resiliency. You can't defend, you can't respond without people, without with you. Today before us are men and women who respond. They're with one another. They are with all of us. They are not lone rangers. Community is when we do things together. And when that happens, there is strength, there is resilience to defend against all that would take it down. So I wish you well and hope that you use the word community and start with a four-letter word, with.
I should never follow Dean. It's a good thing I don't have a speech, right? I just wanted to thank everyone again, family, friends, for being here with us tonight on this very hot night. Special thanks to, and there's a list, a lot of people who were involved in putting this together, honoring the folks that we see here. So that's all we have. I have one special announcement. I'll be in trouble if I don't say it. Unfortunately, we're going to ask both the police and fire to stay just a few minutes after we're all done because we'd like to have a picture of the departments together. So if you don't mind just saying a few more minutes in this heat, that would be great. Good night. Thank you again all for coming.